Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of 45-year-old Nicola Bulley, who was born in Chelmsford in Essex. She disappeared on the 27th of January in 2023 while walking her dog in St. Michael's on Wyre in Lancashire, UK, along the River Wyre. That day she had dropped off her children at school at about 8:40 and then walked her dog along the river. At 8:53 she sent an email to her boss, or her employer, and 8:57 she sent a text to a friend to arrange a meetup for their children later that week. Then she joined a Microsoft Teams call at 9:01, keeping her phone's camera and microphone disengaged, so that was off, so they couldn't hear or see her during the call. She was last seen at about 9:10 on the Riverside field, walking her dog off its lead, and at 9:20 Bulley's phone was believed to be in the vicinity of a Riverside bench. At about 9:30, the Teams call ended, but she was actually still on it, because at 9:33, a passerby discovered a phone, still connected to the call, on a bench. Bulley's dog was found alone near the bench and showed no signs of having been in the river, and the dog's harness was found on the ground between the bench and the river. So either the dog pulled itself free off the harness, or she took the dog off the harness and then dropped it. Don't know. But in any case, initially the police or the Lancashire Constabulary said that there was no evidence of either suspicious activity or third-party involvement in the disappearance, and quickly stated that their working hypothesis was that she had fallen into the river. And the police were criticized for their handling of the case, including releasing private details of Bulley's health and poorly communicating with the media, which resulted in public speculation. And in turn, members of the public were criticized, particularly those users of social media, for traveling to the area during the search and for what the police described as playing private detective. So there's a lot of pointing back and forth here. Now a little background about her. She had 2 school-aged daughters, and her family lived in Inskip, where Bulley worked as a mortgage advisor. Nicola had experienced an issue relating to alcohol, and she had been receiving treatment for her premenopause condition. And police and health professionals had attended the family home on the 10th of January to respond to a quote-unquote concern for welfare. So this occurred 17 days after that. After she was reported missing, the Lancashire Constabulary immediately graded Bulley as a high risk because of specific vulnerabilities due to significant issues with alcohol, which were brought on by her ongoing struggles with the menopause, quote-unquote. And the classification increased the priority and resources assigned to the investigation. And they used police divers, helicopters, and sniffer dogs and drones as well to locate her body, which they were not successful in doing. And on the 19th of February, Bulley's body was found in the river by a man and a woman walking in the area about 1 mile downstream of St. Michael's on Wyre. The inquest into the case was concluded in June of 2023, and it determined that Bulley's death was due to accidental drowning. Now, several people had been spotted in the area with CCTV footage, and 2 of them in particular were sought out by the police for more information because they may have seen something. 2 women in particular, both of them did actually report themselves to the police, and neither of them had any further information, so that is unfortunate. During the inquest, it was stated that Bulley's mobile phone and Fitbit watch data suggested that she entered the water at 9:22. The cause of her death was established to be accidental drowning, with no evidence that Bulley had been harmed before she went into the water. So this would have been voluntary, or at least not caused by a third party. But why and how, we have no idea. And that is why we're going to take a look at this case using the tarot. And we're going to start off with the Urban Tarot deck, which is already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Muse deck, which is this one. Now, as per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. All right, let's see what we got today. Throughout the shuffling, I got the impression like there isn't much that we can get in the ways of cards, so we'll have to see how much we can actually find, or at least how much will actually drop for us. But we're going to start off with the top left over here with the Six of Wands. So we're feeling good, we're feeling victorious, like we've run a marathon basically. That's what this card is showing us. Next to that we have the Four of Swords in reverse, so we're also not taking a break. Maybe she felt like she was on a roll somewhere, which may also be kind of like because of the environment. She was out there with her dog. I imagine that it was a nice brisk walk. It was in January, of course, so it would have been like a wintry thing, so it would have been fairly cold. But she seems to have been in decent spirits at the very least. We have here the Six of Cups, so we're also kind of feeling some type of nostalgia maybe. The card itself is called Pleasure, and it kind of suggests something else. But I don't know if that was really part of her story at that point in time. In any case, she was feeling some type of nostalgia here, which is what usually the Six of Cups points towards. So she's not in a bad mood per se. We have here with that Four of Swords, like nobody Four of Swords is taking a step back and just kind of like chilling and trying to think about things perhaps in a new light, or just to step back and think about stuff that you may have like put off for a while. But she may not have allowed that for herself, or maybe her victorious mood kind of prevented that type of meandering from happening. Next to that we have the Four of Wands. It's in reverse. Four of Wands is normally basically the tent that they put up, and they're celebrating like a harmony card with people just coming together and having fun, kind of like a Three of Cups vibe a little bit, but then more of a social gathering, like a tent, like a campground type of thing. But we're in reverse, so maybe there was something that she was not in harmony with. Maybe there had been some type of disagreement at some point, or she disagreed with something. Now I'm getting the impression that this was not necessarily related to how she ended up in the water. Like this may be something that was just going on in her mind at the time. Ace of Swords is a new idea, new initiative, something that we are working on that may potentially lead to something that will be emotionally rewarding, because we're looking at the Queen of Cups here. I always like this Queen of Cups in the sense that the floor appears to be covered in water, kind of like I think there's like a cafe somewhere where you can go and there's like fish swimming all around, and you have to sit there in the water basically with your shoes off, obviously, otherwise you're going to drag a whole bunch of dirt into the aquarium, which is not good for fish. But that's the case with this floor. In any case, there's a lot of emotions here. She may have been trying to control her emotions, or had quite an emotional morning at that point. She may have been going through some type of emotional roller coaster with a new idea as well over there, and just kind of like, I don't know, on something, like not on something as in substances, but on like a new idea, a new track or something along those lines. And that was making her feel hopeful and good. I don't know exactly what that could be. Let's take a look at the second row here. We have the Eight of Pentacles, called Prudence. It's in reverse. Eight of Pentacles is normally somebody who was really focused on her craft, which is also what the card is showing. So maybe she had some idea of what she wanted to do here with this Ace of Swords, but she didn't quite think it through very well, and she didn't really spend a lot of time and effort into preparing for something, which she then did go ahead and do. Queen of Swords in reverse as well, so also didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it, so not much preparation, not much thoughts into this. But we do have here the Eight of Wands, and that is in reverse. Maybe also just didn't actually tell anybody about it, because the Eight of Wands is also like a communication card, and combined with that, it almost seems like she went ahead and did something without telling anybody, and it was kind of like a spur of the moment type of thing. Like, I'm almost drawn to think like usually January 1st there's a whole bunch of people in the Netherlands anyway that go take a dive in the very cold ocean, and New Year's dive they call that. And I know that was half, like almost February at this point, so I don't think she was planning on doing that, but it kind of has that vibe to it, like, oh, this is something I'm just gonna do, like a spur of the moment, let's just go ahead, and it's gonna make me feel great here. With the Queen of Cups, who was all about balancing out their feelings. Like maybe she had just this mood of, oh, I'm gonna try a fresh start, I'm gonna turn over a new leaf or something, and everything is gonna be great, but she didn't quite think through what the consequences could be. We have here the Six of Pentacles, called Success, which is kind of like a charity card. We have the Sun in reverse, which is not a great card. Like the sun is leaving over here. Brightness is leaving. Things that were supposed to be good are falling behind. And then we have the Queen of Wands in reverse, the Public Defender. And so we're doing things that are not right. Maybe still with the Queen of Swords energy as well, like just not thinking things through. We're very spur of the moment here, and we're just kind of like going ahead and with whatever it is that we had in mind. But the Sun in reverse and the Six of Pentacles are kind of like strange to me in this mood. Like so far we are like trying to make new changes, we have a new idea, a new initiative, and like we're just gonna go for it. Then we have the Six of Pentacles. Like I said, it's like a charity card. The card is called Success. So maybe she expected there to be success as a result of this. Like maybe she was expecting other people to shower her with gifts after this. But then the Sun in reverse is like a very positive thing leaving. Or maybe she's expecting people to be judging her for something. Like maybe she's got some idea and she's like, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money out of it, probably. But other people are probably going to look at it and go, oh my God, what's she doing over there? What is she thinking? That's such a stupid idea. Why would you do that? Or normal people wouldn't do such things, like that type of thing. So, and then the Queen of Wands just kind of goes ahead with it, because that is what the Queen of Wands is known for. She does what she wants when she wants it, because she is very willful. So let's see what else we can find. Let's go on to the Muse deck for that. So what happened after all of this? Oh, that one over here on the corner. We have the Emperor in reverse. Okay, so the Emperor is somebody who is like a father figure or some type of authority figure, somebody whom has a fatherly role, protective role over us, and maybe there wasn't anybody there to do that for her. Nobody to shield her, maybe, nobody to advise her maybe as well in this case. Like there's nobody to tell her no, or to tell her to maybe change her mind or adjust her plan a little bit. Not sure if this means that there was somebody there, but let's take a look what the rest of the cards say, because according to CCTV at least, there weren't any other people there that were detected through CCTV, but who knows, there may have been somebody else in the area. Maybe that's what the Emperor is pointing towards, but let's see what the rest of the cards say. Who is this? This is Ten of Voices. Okay, so we're very worried about something, which is interesting, because in the other cards over here, we were kind of like in a good mood and we were doing our thing and we had all these new ideas that we were going to try out. But the Ten of Voices, or the Ten of Swords, is this worry, like things look the grimmest right before the dawn. So it's dark before the dawn, as they say. So the things look the worst right before the resolution comes. And maybe this is also kind of the mood she was in. Like maybe she wanted somebody to be there for her, but they couldn't be there for her. And so she felt really hard put upon. And this may be when she actually ended up in trouble. She's like calling out for people and hoping for somebody to come and save her or something. And she was very much worried about that. The card is called Truce, though, which is interesting, because Truce is more of a giving in type of thing. And of course, with the Ten of Swords, the person laying on a beach looking at the sunrise, maybe once they give in, they'll find a resolution. Maybe that's what they were thinking, flow with the river. I've actually never pulled this card in this deck, so that's interesting that we're getting this. But this is the Five of Materials, which is the Five of Pentacles, which looks as though music is coming out of the wall somewhere and they're trying to capture it, but it's also not working, and there's somebody laying down there looking pretty dejected. Yeah, like things are coming out of this golden gate over there, and it's not really for them because it's going around them, and any good stuff is avoiding this person. So maybe this is also her trying to grasp at things. Like maybe she's already in the river at this point, trying to grab things in order to pull herself back out again, but nothing's really working. So she's very much worried about that. We have the High Priestess here. A lack of insight. So this may be her not having the proper knowledge to get herself out of the river by, I don't know, keeping still in a certain way, or I'm pretty sure there are methods for that. For instance, if you're in like some type of jet stream in the ocean along the shore, I was always told to kind of swim with it, but then at an angle, so you're gonna like push towards the shore gradually by the jet stream, the currents. Even though you end up much further down the coast than you want it to be, at least you'll be at the coast. Like that type of information was not available to her at that time. So maybe she panicked and was unable to produce the information that she needed. We do see here the Hermit though, so we are very much in our own process here. Maybe she was very much locked inside of her own mind, maybe not able to look at what's beyond that. The sun, which may have been a brief moment of hope, which is interesting because the sun was in reverse down here. So we have a moment of hope here. But the Four of Cups shows that there isn't much there that she wants to choose. There aren't many things that her heart wants, basically. Like she has options, but she doesn't want them, or she doesn't realize that there are options and all she can think about is the one thing that got away. A little bit of Five of Cups energy here as well, like only looking at the things that are not good. And here we have the Hanged Muse, which is also the first card that I showed you today of the Muse deck, which is interesting that that happens. Cards have a tendency of doing that, but the Muse, or the Hanged Muse, or the Hanged Man, however you want to call that, is trying to take a new perspective, possibly trying to come up with ways that she could get herself out of the situation. This may also be wishful thinking. It may be just trying new things, but potentially not succeeding. But at least an attempt was made to try and do things. Trying to get inventive, like on the fly, to try and get herself out of this terrible situation that she finds herself in. Oop, okay. Hierophant in reverse. Now we might be trying to call upon some type of higher power almost, because initially we were hoping for a person to help us here with the Emperor in reverse, but now we have the Hierophant here, which is more of a higher power. As you can see, the person on the card is also trying to connect to this giant being that's just kind of sitting there looking all statue-like. That's what I think those large circles are about, trying to connect to a higher power. Not really able to do so. We have here the Three of Swords, wishing to be somewhere else, but finding it hard to open the door. There's a lot of tears as well in here, so probably the emotions came up, but also her mental realization that things were not gonna be okay ultimately. And then we have here Ace of Cups in reverse and the Star both in reverse. So I often, when I see the Star in reverse in readings like these, it's like the moment that a person goes missing. That's how I tend to see it. So I think this is the moment where she realizes nobody knows I'm here, and I didn't tell anybody I was going to be here, and are they ever going to find me, etc. And then we have the Ace of Cups over there feeling very forlorn with the Ace of Cups in reverse. So I'm getting the impression that this is the part where she does actually drown, like beyond this point. And so we don't really have much more questions to ask because we did find her. We know, at least through the inquiry, that they concluded that she did actually die of drowning. And they at least assume there is no third-party involvement. And in these cards, I don't really see any third party either until we start wishing for people to show up here with the Emperor in reverse. And the cards leading up to this seem more like an initiative that she had, like a new idea. She was in a certain mood, and maybe she just kind of had this thought like, oh, I should do this. That's going to be so good. That's going to be so great. That's kind of what we're seeing in the first row underneath all of these. And not too much like solid evidence for either pre-planning or anything like that. Just, I think it was really a spur of the moment decision that she made. Maybe we can get a few more cards on this because we don't really have that many more questions to ask. Well, obviously the question is why, but Tarot doesn't give like specific answers, just hints at things, but we've been hinted at spur of the moment initiatives that she thought were going to really pay off, and maybe people would look at her funny overdoing it, but she definitely didn't have any intentions to harm herself. At least the cards don't seem to say that, because she apparently expected some type of payoff. So if you're planning on disappearing, then the payoff isn't there. So let's see if we can get any more cards about maybe the why, or any final words that we can get from the tarot today. Oops, that one over there. Seven of Swords, futility. So it's kind of like deceit, maybe deceitful thinking, people having told her things that may not have been correct. And looking at the scraps of paper that seem to be all over the place, like maybe these are old things that she may have read somewhere. Like it's kind of like faded paper there with some text on it left and right. And it all seems to be pointing towards one central thought. Like there are several things that you may have picked up along the way in different magazines or news articles or other things. And they all kind of came to one central idea that turned out to be harmful. She was not expecting that. Three cards, but one of them is on my lap. This one, and we have here the Prince of Wands, which is basically the Knight of Wands, and then we have the Aeon, which is Judgment, and over here we have the Hanged Man again, but in reverse. So we're not able to take much of a different perspective this time. Leading up to it, Prince of Wands, Knight of Wands is somebody who tends to charge ahead. So there's definitely a lot of recklessness involved here. Aeon is Judgment, so maybe also afterwards thinking about how they may judge her about the things that she is doing, or the things that she thought she could be doing, and maybe some judgment from the past, because I'm looking at this person over here with the old-time dress, almost looking like they immigrated there, like they're standing there with a large bag and on the shore somewhere. So maybe she's like, I don't know, trying to remember or imagine what ancestors might be thinking or feeling. I don't know, it's a bit of a weird mood. Like I said in the past, or the other cards down here, we had a bit of a weird mood as well, a weird initiative that seemed to be playing up, and she really thought maybe she could do things, possibly because she felt like she had strong connections to the past that also had people in it who did similar things. I don't know what she was doing, obviously. Hanged Man in reverse, though, not really able to take a good perspective or a different perspective, and this Hanged Man in particular shows that when you're trying to take a different perspective, you can also lose, because all the money that he had in his pocket is being shaken and removed basically by gravity, falling to the ground, even though the person in the card himself does not appear to be having an issue with that. They don't seem to be aware, so it's kind of like a fool card in that sense as well. So, and their phone is falling out, so no communication either. Maybe that's also something that she considered in the moment, like while she was over there in the water. Oh my God, my phone is still on the bench. I can't call anybody either. And this is what you get for the things that you've done by acting carelessly like that. So I really don't see any more here other than strange, careless actions that were not thought through in any way that led to her unfortunate demise. I think that's all I'm gonna get, because we're gonna keep going in circles otherwise. So I'm gonna call it here. I hope you found that interesting, the case of Nicola Bulley. If you want to leave a comment, that really helps the channel along, as well as leaving a like or a dislike if you disliked it. That also helps in its own way. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, that is also very much appreciated. I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.